Do, do, do. And we are live. What's up, everybody? Welcome to VKH Live. How you doing? You hanging in there? We got a sad topic tonight. I'm your host, Jeff DeWitt. I'm flying solo this weekend. Winona is out of town. Well, not out of town. She's out of commission. She's wrapping up the last of her internship at Sony. Ends on Monday, so she's got some big projects. Proud of her. Yeah. So we've. Hope you guys enjoyed like all of the streams that we did last weekend. It was pretty crazy, but it was a lot of fun. This weekend, it's gonna be we're just doing this one stream, and then we're gonna have a bunch more cool stuff planned for you the rest of the month. But I finally carved out some time to sit down and go through my feels about DADAROMA going on hiatus from their drummer leaving a couple of weeks back, and I figured I wouldn't be alone. So that's what our stream topic is tonight. What's going on, chat? Welcome. But first, while we get into that, before we get into that, I have some announcements I want to go through while people are still filtering in. First announcement is first of all, for those of you that don't know, if you like these live streams and you have a message that you want to get addressed, you can super chat us by tipping us on Streamlabs. Your message will show up on the stream, and tonight it will look like this. This is all totally optional. I do read chat. And full disclosure, I actually just like announced this honestly to show off the cool gifts I make for each stream. So I was pretty proud of this one. I grabbed it from the PV preview for DADAROMA. I'm just gonna show it a couple times. So yeah, but just wanted to throw that out there. I don't know if we're the only website that like our sole like when we plug our donations, it's the ulterior motive isn't to get your money, it's for me to show off my gift skills. Yeah. Oh man, yeah, you guys sound pretty broken up too about DADAROMA. Damn. Okay. Good. Yeah, we're definitely gonna get into some of all that. So other announcements are, I just lost my notes. That's fantastic. Let's see. Sorry about that. Notes crashed this time. That's great. Did can everything at this point, to be honest. Okay, cool. So quick few announcements for our patrons. VKH has a Patreon, by the way. Same thing as a super chat. It's totally optional. We're just a volunteer-run site, and if you like what we do and you want to support us, helps us just like do cooler stuff. So for our supporters on Patreon, just some quick announcements. I've started posting previews of content on the Patreon feed. We call it the VKH Stream of Consciousness. I'm going to be posting the rants that I've been talking about, or like just personal recordings on there as well for you guys. Starting this week, I plan on doing that. They're just going to be like some one-off recordings, just random thoughts and stuff like that. I have started posting previews. I posted the picture that you've got on the screen here early this morning, and like for example, LMCs for the LMC review that I wrote. I had a first draft version of that up for you guys to check out. So check the Patreon feed if you are a donor on Patreon, or alternatively you can just keep an eye on our Discord in the VKH Roadies Discord if if you're in there, I post links to that as well. For anyone who's donating $25 or more a month, there are 2 live streams that we're going to be planning, one from July and one from August to catch up. I owe you guys one from July. Thank you for your support. There's going to be a survey asking for dates and times for that private, just fun, goofy stream just for you guys, where you get to pick whatever you want for us to talk about. So keep an eye out on that for the feed as well. And then last but not least, for our $50 or more, thank you very, very much, patrons. And I'll get this out to you as well, because I believe there's just one of you right now, so I'll probably message you personally. But if anybody else signs up between now and then, there will be a survey coming up for your review requests, where you get to pick a review at that tier for us to write, about any sort of JRock or Visual K release that we can get our hands on. I'm keeping it to review, and so there's going to be 2 of those, one to catch up from July and one for this month, and I'm going to be keeping it to reviews only this month, and then we'll be set up for grabbing interviews and requests and things like that next month. I don't want to make it an option this month, just because I don't want to make it. I don't want you to have you pick it and then it turns out it's not realistic for us to grab it. But like starting next month, we're going to be in full interview recruitment mode as a lot of things, a lot of events swing into gear for the rest of the fall. So it'll be much easier for us to grab interviews based on requests. So I will make sure to get that out to all of our patrons. Much appreciated again for the support. VKH Breakdown, for those of you who don't remember, our podcast. We started it in about a year ago, I guess, and then we kind of went on a sudden hiatus in the spring while we were launching these VKH live streams. That is coming back. We're going to have a new format. It's going to be very short and sweet, very edited down. So you can look for, there is a old podcast episode that we were unable to release at the time. I'm going to be editing and releasing that either this week or next week. So just keep an eye out for that. It'll probably be a little bit outdated, but it's like in terms of the content that we're covering, but we think it's going to be still very entertaining just because we had Shane on, and anyone who's seen the streams with Shane knows he's hilarious. And we had some great conversations. It's funny shit. And some good, so it talked about some good stuff. So, check it out and let us know in the comments on SoundCloud if if you think our predictions were right, since most of the things we predicted have long since occurred, like the events and the topics we're covering. But we are putting that out, and then we're going to be announcing a new schedule for it, and other cool announcements for it are going to be coming soon as well. Also, still working on getting the rest of the podcast up on YouTube. They are on SoundCloud right now, as they've always been, but I'm working on getting YouTube versions up. So that's more of a stay posted in the near future, but it is coming, and an episode is coming very, very soon. This coming Monday, in terms of news articles, you can definitely look forward to a lot of juicy news articles I wanted to tease, just make you aware of. So there's going to be a lot of articles about upcoming J-Rock concerts in the U.S. No Visual K this year, it looks like, unfortunately, unless you want to count Miyavi at his upcoming performance, but or for the rest of this year, I should say. But lots of J-Rock. So we're gonna have details on where you can get tickets and when things are happening. So definitely want to keep an eye out for those articles. Also gonna be there's some updates on past activity that Yoshiki has been doing. And that we wanted to kind of recap and give you a quick catch up on for those of you who are X Japan fans. Also a couple of articles about X Japan as well. So if you're an X fan, definitely keep an eye out for that. Last but not least, this is one that came to my attention today. Thank you I'm sorry I don't have Discord open right now, but thank you to whoever posted it in our Discord. But Dim Limbs album that has been very hard to get a hold of, Che Doara, is on iTunes, Apple Music, and Spotify as of like either yesterday or today. And I was looking very very intently for it. But I wasn't paying attention to it the last couple of days, and that was when they put it out. So thank you to whoever posted it in the Discord. We'll have an article up on Monday as well for that. So you can figure out where to get it if you don't feel like looking it up right now. We'll definitely make sure to get you all the details on that and the physical copies of the album and things like that. So almost done here with the announcements. Upcoming reviews. I am still working on the Gazette review. I know it's quite late, but I have elected to rework it into a different kind of article. I don't want to give too much information away, but it's a very interesting format I'm writing it in, and it's something that I hope you will be able to share with friends, with people who aren't familiar with Visual K, but that might be into the Gazette's music. So I'm working on that, and so I'm either going to keep it the way I have it, or I'm going to revert back to the standard review that I had and release it as a separate article, but they're going to come out at the same time. So keep an eye out for that. That's going to be coming out soon. Also going to be reviewing Darrell's album, Dimlim's album, and Desert's album. If you guys have any other requests, let me know. I will get on that for sure. Last but not least, upcoming streams. So LMC fans, we have some unfinished business. You guys asked, and I'm listening. LMC fans want a listening party, and LMC fans are getting a listening party. So I'm going to be tweeting out a survey asking for when you guys are available for that. The reason I'm doing that is because I want to get as many of you guys in the chat as possible. I'm going to put you up on screen so you guys can live react while we listen through the album together. LMC fans are quite, I've noticed, are quite expressive and fun in the chat, in Discord and things like that. I think it'd be really cool to get you guys on stream, with your live reactions in the chat to the album. Maybe we can get it out to LMC, see what, so they can see what their how cool their international fans are. So keep an eye out for that. So we can work on scheduling something accordingly. There'll also be a ranking releases stream soon after that, like I talked about in the past, where we have you guys rank LMC's albums now that Future Sensation is out. So keep an eye out for those two. Also going to do a ranking releases for DADAROMA at some point, since tonight's stream is about DADAROMA, and they're on hiatus, and people are really bummed, it looks like, from the chat about DADAROMA. So I think that'd be good to like go back, recap their music, and just kind of see what everybody's favorite stuff is, because I'm actually really curious. I get a lot out of these ranking releases streams because I get to see what the fans are into the most. So it's really helpful for me. It's really interesting. And then there will be one more Gazette stream after the Gazette news goes out, or the Gazette review goes out, and or article / review / article, whichever way it goes. So there will be one more of those, just kind of put a bow on all that. Should I tease it? Yeah, I can tease it. So there's one big stream that I've been working on as a side project, and I want to do a Visual K and anime stream where we talk about Visual K bands, and they kind of have the real life anime vibe to them, and they also do a lot of anime openings. So there's a lot to talk about there. Rubab, who I saw in the chat earlier, hello, has kindly provided me with a great starting point for like some of like the biggest, her expert opinion on like the best anime intros from Visual K bands. I'm going to be fleshing out more of those. I'm going to be watching a lot of anime that these openings have been used for. So we can we're going to be able to talk about Visual K and talk about anime. Working on setting a date for that, but just wanted to put that out there so you guys are aware and keep an eye out for that. So, all right, awesome. Thank you for sitting through all the announcements. That is all for that. So let's get into the sadness, the very, very sadness. Well, first, let's see what chat is saying. I saw the chat seemed very, very expressive today. I'm glad to see that. Makes me happy. Yeah, it's very unexpected. Seems you won't be able to play anymore. I still hope the band comes back. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna answer some of these as we get into it, because I've got some speculation, like if about like the drummer and replacement, are they coming back? Lots of people really sad. Yoshiki's doing some piano performance here in Hollywood next month, says Rubab. Yep, that's one of the articles. We're gonna be talking about that. Chiao left a T-Rex emoji. Appreciate you. Yeah, awesome. Okay, cool. Excited about DADAROMA. Excited about Gazette. $5 says we vote Masturbation as the top DADAROMA track. Yeah, maybe we should do like top tracks, because they've got like a limited enough catalog and a substantial enough catalog. We could do tracks. I think tracks would be fine. VK plus anime is awesome. All right, awesome. All right, let's get into it. So, very sad news. Hope you guys enjoyed my graphic. I when I was making the stream article and the graphics last night for this stream, I got sad and then I got inspired, I guess. And so as a result, here we are with with this. I found an old movie poster and just kind of went crazy with the editing. Yeah, very sad news. Let me go ahead and flip over to the news article here that we put out. So so DADAROMA's on hiatus because their drummer Yusuke has left the band. Very sad news, very sudden, and that sucks. That sucks a lot, because a lot of people are very much into this band. I'm going to let my bias seep through very strongly in this stream. Just full disclosure, I very much enjoy DADAROMA. I'm very partial to DADAROMA. I'm big into DADAROMA, and so this sucks. But I definitely have hope. But I have a lot of sympathy for Yusuke, because this is very sad news. And the reason behind it is very sad. So keep in mind, DADAROMA's been around for 3 years now. So wow, like time flies, and they've accomplished so much in 3 years. Like I said in here, like they've put out 9 singles, 4 mini albums, a full-length album, and a live DVD. The rate at which they put out mini albums and singles really makes it feel like their discography is like much larger than it actually is. Also, the quality of the songs, I would say, like very memorable tracks in general. Not a lot of duds. It's always something for someone to get into that's even remotely into this kind of music. This is Yusuke. This is his latest look. So the reason he's retiring, from what I understand from reading their press release, is that he is suffering from dystonia. And for those of you who don't know, dystonia is rough, from what I understand. It's a disorder that is it's tied to a section of the brain, actually, and it can be caused by a lot of different causes. It widely varies. There's nothing, I didn't see anything that like tipped me off to like musicians. It's like a common thing for musicians. It's actually like a neurological disorder, I think, is what it's classified as, or it's very borderline to that. And basically what happens is that there's the part of your brain that controls your movement has become slightly damaged in some way, and the result is varying severe levels of severity of I don't know if it's considered like a muscle spasm, but it's like the twisting of your muscles and involuntarily. So it can result in your limbs kind of dragging as you walk, for example, or like your arm twitching, not moving properly. You can have like a weird or not a weird, they call it an irregular posture. It's very it seems like a very frustrating issue to have. It's kind of in the same vein as things like Parkinson's is what I was reading a lot of articles about. It would like relate it to Parkinson's and that family of illnesses. And as someone who has had multiple family members really suffer from that, like my heart goes out to this guy. It can be all kinds of different types. From his press release, it sounded like he had right upper limb dystonia, which means it's somewhere in this area of his arm. He's getting those slight spasms in some way. Didn't go into too much detail. I don't want to speculate on his personal medical issues, but it's frustrating for sure for a musician. And so as a result, what he said in his statement is that he's not just leaving the band, he's retiring as a drummer. Is what he said in his statement. He also said that like he wanted to make sure he left in it, while he was still solid as a drummer. So he's going to be leaving after their performance, their tour final that they're having at Shibuya O West on August 28th. So he's got maybe a few more performances left, a couple more. I think they had one tonight or earlier today at some point. I thought I saw a press release. Maybe that was from a few days ago. But very few performances left, so very sad. Our hearts definitely go out to UCK and to DADAROMA. DADAROMA, as a result, has gone on hiatus in light of this, like I said. So everything that's the news from this. That's the concrete news and the context behind it. So everything here on out is going to be like my personal opinion, just as a disclaimer. So I'm not an expert. I don't have insider information or anything like that. But so now that we've covered that, now that you have the context, I wanted to talk about kind of maybe what we might hope to see moving forward. I don't think they're going to disband. I think DADAROMA is going to come back personally. I just see no way that with this much potential, that a setback like this would cancel the band as a whole. So I would be surprised if I'm proven wrong on that. But you never know what happens in Visual K. I just think it makes logical sense for a band like DADAROMA that has like a ton of personality, a ton of great chemistry that the band, the band members have. If you've ever seen a live performance by them or like a recording of one, or you've seen any of their PVs, they're like all in sync with each other. They're all like playing off of each other. It's the whole persona and charisma of the band doesn't just come from Hiatus, doesn't just come from the vocalist. It comes from everyone. And so as a result, when you have that much chemistry, I think it makes perfect sense to go on hiatus and really take your time picking the right drummer, the right new member to replace, 25% of your band. I would be curious to see what people in chat think, who they think might be able to replace UCK as a drummer. I would imagine it's a little bit more limited than a lot of Visual K bands, because they would be looking for like a metalcore friendly drummer. I would imagine, like someone with a bit of experience in that. So, it's not just what the more mainstream, like what the mainstream sound, the mainstream drumming. So maybe they have a more limited selection of drummers they have to pick from the metal musicians, as opposed to just any drummer in the Visual K scene. And then they would have to limit it down, obviously, by who's a good fit for the band and things like that. So I would be curious. I don't think Meto from Mejibre is doing anything. I don't know if the drummer from Morgan, who just disbanded, is doing anything. I'm trying to think of other metal bands that metal oriented bands in Visual K that recently disbanded. Ligro, which was like an exciting comeback, and then a sudden disbandment happened earlier this spring, which is very unfortunate. That was a very metal oriented band. Their drummer's name escapes me. I could go on. It could be It could be a lot of people, but it's got to be someone that is obviously very flexible. It's very, even as a metal musician, DADAROMA does a lot of like what bands like the Gazette or Dur and Grey even might do, where they hop from genre to genre. Even though the bass is metalcore, and you have to be like a badass metalcore drummer, you have to kind of have a certain level of being able to switch to a jazz song occasionally or switch to a pop rhythm every now and then. So it'll be very interesting to see who they pick. I think they're really limited in terms of Lauren says in the chat they can't just get anyone, I would think. And UCK did amazing drumming. So yeah, I totally agree. I think they're pretty limited in terms of the drummer that they get, but Japan just got like a huge backlog of talent. I mean, at least compared to the West, the States, from what I'm seeing, especially in Visual K. So I would be I wish them best of luck in finding a replacement drummer, at least a support drummer for the time being. But I definitely don't think they're going to disband. I think they're going to come back fairly soon. I think there's just no way that they would want to walk away from this, because they are like right in the middle of like their stride, like the best, like they're really hitting their stride, like these last few releases. I think their release, their last mini album, This Is Live, was like that was like the cream of the crop. That was like, all right, we've done all kinds of experimentation, we've grown as a band, and like this is our badass sound that we've got right now. And it was just like a hell of a display, a hell of a release. There's just so much so much potential there, so much momentum. So if I were you guys, I personally wouldn't worry about them disbanding. Now, if I eat my words on that, I apologize in advance. I really don't think they're going to disband. So, but yeah, I really, thoughts and prayers with, Yusuke for sure. Best wishes to DADAROMA, and, yeah, so I think that's the general overview. But yeah, I feel you guys for sure. Lots of sadness in the chat. No, not DADAROMA. Feel so bad for Yusuke. Let's see. Honestly, I wasn't too surprised. Back when Yusuke's previous band, Nane, I think is how you say that, disbanded, he had already mentioned at some point he might have to quit playing drums. Oh, interesting. So he's probably known about this for a while. It does worsen over time, I saw, if there's like repeated stress on the muscles that are affected, I think. There's things you can do to make it worse. There's things you can do to make it better. None of them sounded like great long-term solutions, to be honest. It sounded like stuff that Yoshiki has to do with X Japan, to be honest. Botox, they inject Botox like in the affected muscle group, and it stops the spasming so that you can do what you want to do. But anyone that's familiar with Yoshiki's medical issues and his backstory, he's in like constant pain just all the time. It's like what it sounds like, especially when drumming. Like if you've seen the documentary for We Are X, he gets loaded up with those shots and stuff. It's so it's rough. So I don't blame him for wanting to retire and take it easy and maybe focus on just like keeping it under control. Cause like that's a rough life to live, man. But yeah. That's good to know. That's interesting to know. I didn't know that. Thank you for sharing. Lauren says, to me, there hasn't been a release by them that I didn't like. I agree for the most part, I think. I don't think there's a release by them that I didn't like. Yeah, with that, we can kind of get into, I wanted to recap some of their music, like their past releases and stuff like that. Man, like... I can't, I'm trying to figure out how to properly formulate in my brain just like how essential, like what I think this band did for like indie Visual K. It's great what they did. Like for them to come in at the time that they did, I remember seeing them drop the Oboreru Sakana music video, which was their first single, and then like the lead track on their first album, or their first mini album. And it was great. It was just like this blast to the face of this like heavy metalcore with like this symphonic music in the background that at that point I hadn't heard a lot of, to be quite frank. I really hadn't heard like a ton of that going on at the time. I know the Gazette was doing Project Dark Age kind of around then. But like on the indie scene, maybe I just wasn't following the bands, but that were doing it. But I wasn't seeing a ton of it just yet. But I mean, boy, do I see a ton of it now. But like that specific kind of like metalcore that slaps, like they have the like this fucking slaps, man. Like that they have that like kind of vibe to them. I don't know if anybody's familiar with the band. This is a segment, or this is a bit of a sidetrack, but it's I'll explain how it's relevant. Speaking of like music that slaps, so like I don't know if you guys are familiar with the band Attila. It's a U.S. based metalcore band. They are self-described as a party metal band. They play deathcore music, but they rap about like getting bitches in the club and getting wasted and stuff like that. So they're ironically loved by a lot of people, and they are unironically loathed by a lot of like metal fans and things like that. But the reason they've been so successful, in spite of like what seems like a shallow concept, is that they're in my opinion, the reason they're successful is their music slaps. Like I see that in the comments a lot, that it's like the lyrics to this are stupid and the music video is stupid, but this shit slaps, and it's really hard to deny that. And so when you have a metalcore band or a core band, you know, like of any kind, like any of the crossover genres, like metalcore, deathcore, I mistakenly referred to Attila as a deathcore band. They're a metalcore band, by the way. Don't roast me, metal fans in the chat. That's a slip of the tongue. You know, any band like that that just like if they have that like it factor, that it's like their breakdowns hit great and they go away just when they need to go away. And then they just have complete control over it. It's really hard to hate their music. And so like they could even make like, even their bad songs are like still catchy. It's still like ear candy, like for metalcore listeners. I think Crossfaith has that about them as well. That's why they're able to do so many different things. I'm trying to think of others that do that. Beartooth, which is a Western metalcore band. They haven't, I mean, they are just very critically acclaimed in general, but I think that's a big part of their success, is that they really have that riffing breakdown chemistry like figured out in their own way. So yeah. So, and DADAROMA, what's really awesome about DADAROMA is that they have it so down to the point where they can kind of do what the Gazette would do, for example, with alternative metal, or what Duran Gray would do with avant-garde metal or just extreme metal, which is they take it and they take that like core sound where you know it's DADAROMA, and they run it through a bunch of different genres. So you kind of have a lot of different sounds by DADAROMA, just like you have a bunch of different sounds by a lot of those more popular major bands in Visual Kei. That do a lot of different sounds. So they have jazz metalcore, for example, with is it Sai? I believe it's Saishu Densa. That's a great one. And then Morphine Number One is another song from their first mini album that's very jazzy like that. Their most recent single, Boku wa Android, was starting to experiment with electronic music, and we'll get into that too later on in the stream. What else? They do a bit of like the avant-garde metalcore, like the more horror kind of metal that Duran Gray is very well known for. They've done a very good job recreating that in their own sound. You can see a lot of inspiration they take from Duran Gray when they go that route, and they just execute it so solidly that it's kind of hard to hard to deny how well they're pulling it off, in my opinion. And then let's see what else. And then they're able to do kind of like their own metalcore version of like that Luna Sea inspired anime opening sounding song formula with like the catchy, the energetic verse and the catchy clean vocals. What you call it? Catchy clean vocals in the chorus. So like Yume Tarareba. Oh man. Try and grade me on a curve tonight with the pronunciation, chat. I got a lot to go through, but yeah. So yeah. So there's a lot of there's a lot of versatility with them, and I did really think of them as like a nice like a metalcore love child of the Gazette and Duran Gray, and so in a lot of ways that kind of made them, to me in my eyes, like the successor to Mejibre in a sense, like Mejibre 2.0. Because like those of you that were around for the Mejibre, craze that happened, over the last few years before they went on hiatus, like they were a big deal. You probably know full well that they were heavily inspired by the Gazette. To controversial. God, I just inhaled. Well, that was rough. Ignore that. To the point where it was a little controversial in the beginning in terms of similarities, but you could tell it was like the Gazette Duran Gray bastard child that like everybody wanted in the indie scene and everybody was enjoying while they were there, until they lost their edge, they lost their touch, and then they just went on hiatus. And as that was happening, as they were like, in the decline, so to speak, after they jumped the shark, if you would say, at least in my opinion, they jumped the shark. This is when DADAROMA was coming into play. And so DADAROMA's done a great job in like kind of taking over like that role, that like scratching that itch, I would say. It was solid. It was a solid replacement. It was a 2.0 as far as I was concerned. But they really do a good job, like filling the void that Mejibre might have left for a lot of people, in my opinion. So, it's a little different. It's not like the industrial metal. It's much cleaner and more refined compared to Mejibre, which was like intentionally dirty sounding a lot of the times. But if you listen to their single Pornograph, for example, reminds me a lot of Decadence by Mejibre, which is one of their like best songs, in my opinion. And they do like it's kind of a similar style song where it's like a pseudo, it's not really a ballad, but it's like, it's sad and passionate, and, with like passionate, clean vocals in the chorus. And then there's various amounts of like heaviness throughout it. It really drives home like the mood of the song. And both of those songs are great. Decadence by Mejibre and Pornograph by DADAROMA. So there's just lots of crossover there that you can tell. You can tell they were really, where their influences came from, where DADAROMA's influences came from, and how well they built on it. They had Risley Circus, which was a kind of like their own take on Inside Beast by the Gazette. You can tell Yoshiatsu was quite inspired by Marilyn Manson, to a certain degree, in the way he likes to wear like a lot of his makeup in the beginning, and then he kind of moved into like wearing this Harlequin style makeup that you were seeing more and more of, and that really made its big debut in Risley Circus, I think. And just in general with the band's shock value. So that's another thing I would want to get into, is that there's a lot of, I would say, I've seen a lot of Visual Kei hipsters, I would say, that are quite irritated with DADAROMA, which kind of like amuses me to like no end, really. But because of like kind of the zero fucks given attitude that they take to their metal sound, which metal is very susceptible to getting like, fans that are kind of snobbish about like, this is serious. We're gonna take this serious music. Okay, very serious. Gotta take it serious. This is art. This is dark art. I'm expressing my soul. And DADAROMA is taking their name from Dadaism, which is an art form based entirely around meaninglessness. And on our very, very, very first episode of VKH Breakdown, Winona, who is an art major, has like a ton of knowledge on art. She gave this was episode 0. This was our test episode. She went into explaining what Dadaism is because it was right around the time they were dropping Dadaism number 3. And you can just kind of see it reflect in their general attitude that like if you've ever seen Dada art or like literally the name itself is Dada. It's something that like a noise a baby makes. It's meaningless. It means nothing. So Dada art is like a trash can turned upside down with like some trash on top of it or something put in the middle of the street, and then it's like Dadaism, like that's the whole point. The whole point is like, meaninglessness and nothingness. And so, I feel like they do that. They run with that general theme quite well. They break the mold in a lot of ways. They are not like this elegant kind of band that, is doing a lot of flourishing and like seems like they have a deep, dark side to them and things like that, which there's nothing wrong with, but sometimes you don't want to take yourself too seriously. Sometimes you don't want to take your music that seriously. Sometimes you just want something like aggressive and upfront, as opposed to subtle. So DADAROMA is not one for subtlety. I saw some people in the chat saying that they like Sai Shudensha, for example, but the PV was a bit much. And yes, I did see whoever who wrote that. Was that that was Kiriko in the chat. And then they pointed out something that I was around for, which was that they had to take the original PV down because they kind of have porn in their PV. I mean, it's like they shot like a hookup scene basically with there's a topless girl in it. And they put it out on YouTube, and I was subscribed to their channel for that, and I was like, woo lad, how did this get up on YouTube? How it was up for a few weeks, and then they had to take it down and re-upload an edited version. So I guess they learned their lesson that way. But that was really funny to see, man. It was really funny to see the them push that boundary on YouTube. I was quite amused by that. I think my current favorite level of honestly trolling that they did, it's trolling and it's like general not giving a fuckness. Let me see if I can pull it up. So let's see. So for those of you who are familiar with DADAROMA, you may be familiar with a certain song. It's called Masturbation. Nice, good, family-friendly content. It's not like it got any less less shocking or scandalous or anything like that. But I would say Masturbation was one of the ones that was like just right bluntly in your face. So for those of you who are unfamiliar, in the chorus, they are singing over and over. Yoshiatsu singing, "Please pay money for my masturbation." I want to know in the chat how many fans were familiar with just how where that came from. So if you're not familiar, it came from sorry, I'm just laughing just as I try and find a good place to pause the music video. Oh, there we go. Good. Yeah, there we go. That's good, right? Maybe not. I don't know if I'm going to have to do an 18 and up stream. Oh, well, there's Yusuke. Maybe we can do it right there. So the reason I wanted to bring this up is there's just a lot of like funny stuff going on in here. So so the line "please pay money for my masturbation" was in Yoshiki's Instagram bio for like years. It was very funny. So like I was thoroughly amused when I saw that in the PV and I heard him singing it. I could hear the English. Quite amusing. What was also quite amusing is that this was almost, I'm convinced. Okay, so disclaimer, Jeff's own opinion. This is a Jeff conspiracy theory. This is nobody else's opinion but my own. But I'm going to share this conspiracy theory with you. So for those of you who aren't familiar, there's a band called Vexant that we've been giving a bit of a hard time. Due to a certain copycat nature of their some of their music. So this song is called "Welcome to the Darkness." It came out after DADAROMA put out "Risley Circus," which was clearly their own take, but like an original take on "Inside Beast" by the Gazette, which was the hot like wub wub song at the time. And then this comes out, which is it's kind of like, so "Welcome to the" Risley Circus by DADAROMA was like their own distinct song because it was like a metalcore take on it. You know, the Gazette was doing some kind of industrial rock meets dubstep kind of like vibe, and then DADAROMA was doing more of like a metalcore with like, you know, some electronic music going on, but it was more like synths than like the blatant dubstep that the Gazette was doing and stuff like that. And so then really soon after, the Vexant puts out "Welcome to the Darkness," which just sounds and reads like, if you read the lyrics, just like a ripoff of both. I don't want to like talk shit about these bands or anything like that, and I won't deny that Vexant kills it with their look, and they do a solid job emulating these bands, but the level to which they emulate is like criminal. Like, we were really mad with the last one, so like I won't even get started on that. I'll explain why I'm bringing this up, though. It is relevant. So you see these words that they're putting in, it's kind of similar to what the Gazette did, but it's like their own kind of like, you know, they pick their own font, and it's more like blatant, it's more repetitive, and things like that, right? And then so this comes out after DADAROMA did Risley Circus, and it's like a metalcore kind of rendition of Inside Beast, and it's very it's catchy and all of that, you know, quite popular, 231,000 views. It is what it is. But then DADAROMA comes out with Masturbation, right? Look at the font they're using. Look at the font they're using in the PV. Can you see it? I think look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at this. Look at this. If this is not trolling, I don't know what is. This is trolling. This is a clapback, okay? This is a Visual K clapback right here. An indie clapback. So like this is a choice moment of shade throwing, in my opinion. Again, all speculation. I have no insider knowledge whatsoever. But wanted to share that moment with you. You can tell me what you think in the chat. It always like just amused the hell out of me. The other thing that really amused the hell out of me out of this song specifically is the lyrics that he's talking about are directly meant to like kind of throw more shade, I would say, at those deep Iraguro K bands, or those fans of that deep side of stuff, of like this heavy music in Visual K that overvalue the seriousness of their art, maybe to a certain degree. In the lyrics, and the lyrics are in English, so it's like everybody's understanding what they're saying. Like he sings Yoshiatsu sings in this, I want to speak the truth, I'm gonna shout it, and then this back and forth where he's saying fuck no, is actually it's not what he's talking about. What they're saying back and forth is, it's like the people chanting in the background, it's they're saying like for me, and then he's like, fuck no, he's like, for us, and he's like, fuck no, and it's like, for society, it's like, fuck no, and like, for for like all the, like, why are you making music? And then the last question that they ask is and they say for space in there, which is kind of funny. Like I just like that one. For space, fuck no, no music for space, get out of here, aliens. But the last thing he says, they ask, is for you. So yeah, I guess, yeah. Sorry, I think I got that wrong in the beginning. But the last thing that he says is for you, and he says, yeah. And then he jumps into the chorus where he says, please pay money for my masturbation. And then he ends the chorus by saying, I will make music for you every day, but we're singing for ourselves. So that is like, that's just direct, like, calling out like commercialism in bands, and the masturbation part is just like, this band is like, that's kind of when I realized it's like, this band is almost parodying like other darker, deeper metal bands in certain ways. It's not like they don't get serious. It's not like they're not good at getting serious, but they just like, they come at it like face on, which is like what a Western band would do. It's a very Marilyn Manson thing to do. You know, they're very blatant. They're very a lot of shock value, and I think that's looked down on in their circles. And as their way of breaking the mold, they shade like all of these bands by just, I feel like they're speaking for them. I feel they're like, please pay money for my self-indulgence. It's like, I'm making music for you, but I'm doing this for me, really. Like, let's be real here, guys. So, let's see what chat thinks about that. I saw some comments. So it looks like I'm not alone on this one for sure. Pop out the chat here. Lot of interaction from the chat tonight. I appreciate you guys. It's good to know you guys are so into DADAROMA, because I'm into DADAROMA too, if you haven't noticed. So I could talk about them all day. Let's see. This Is Live was great. Yeah, I agree. Their lives are awesome. I'm sure they will come back probably next year. They grew up and got popular really fast since they started, says Genevieve. Let's see. Lauren says, that is one of my favorites of theirs. The best kind of metalcore. Like, Masturbation has ridiculous lyrics, but it slaps. Yeah, exactly. Disrain makes good music like that. I agree. People should check out Yohio's band Disrain, by the way. Yes, Yohio's band. Yohio is in a metal band. He bounces back and forth between his solo project as Yohio and Disrain. Disrain is quite good. Disrain was kind of one of two bands, along with the Black Swan, that was really going for like this evil atmospheric sound that was like beyond what like a lot of the other bands like the Gazette, when they did Project Dark Age and they dabbled in gothic metal. Like, the Black Swan was like going to dark places with it, and then Disrain was like, coming along and catching up to them and keeping pace with it. So they were running right down that trail that the Black Swan had been blazing, and then and the Nega, the vocalist previous band, had been blazing before that. But then the Black Swan disbanded, so the only band we've got with that exact kind of music right now, or at least a version of it, is Disrain, is Yohio's metal band. What a time to be alive, guys. But I can't deny it. It's good music. It's solid music. It's the exact opposite of what you'd expect from Yohio, but totally agree. Disrain makes solid music like that that's hard to ignore, because it does slap quite well. And the visuals are very stunning. The bassist or guitarist, one of the members, has a mustache, like a curled mustache, so you get to see a mustache K. Good selling point. Strongly recommend. Morphine number 2 is one of my faves. Yeah, I agree. Dadaism number 1 is just an amazing mini album all around. Like, what a way to start your career. I know they put out a single ahead of time, but then they had the mini album, which is where I think a lot of people really picked it up, and it had both the tracks from the single on there. But what a way to start a career. Like, every single song on that album is great. It's yeah. Let's see. Dark Angel says, totally me. Serious music is my soul. My soul is dark. In quotes. Yeah. And it's like I get that way too, man. It's like you can't help but get that way if you listen to something like Duran Gray. You listen to something that is very intense, but it's like if you live in that too long, and then you go around and you vocalize that too much. I mean, nobody's gonna like give you shit for it or anything, but if you start snubbing people that aren't doing that, then people are gonna start like kind of trolling you as the emo kid, and I think that's like what DADAROMA's doing a little bit. So I didn't know that. That makes it even more hilarious. Also, Yoshiatsu's Insta bio still says, "Please pay money for my masturbation." Great trolling. Yeah, I appreciate just how upfront it is. It's very funny. R.I.P. Black Swan. Yeah, I miss Black Swan too. See, I really love when they troll and throw shade, but actually their more serious stuff is what I prefer most of the time. I love Lucid Dream and Suki no Uta, for example. Yeah, Lucid Dream blew my mind when I first heard it. Blew a lot of people's minds. Like that PV has a ton of views, and it really got a lot of people on board. Like, all right, so these guys have been messing around. These guys do a lot of shock value, but these guys, they're messing around, but they're not messing around, if you know what I mean. Like, it's like you do not take these guys lightly musically. They have fun. They're great to get your adrenaline pumping, but you want to hear something serious. I think, what was it called? I'm gonna butcher this because I don't remember it from memory, but I think it was Zoka no Kalashnikov. That was like a really intense song. That was like some of their heavier, more serious stuff. They even have some of that on a little bit of that on their This Is Live, even though the focus is more on like the really energetic rhythms and stuff like that. So yeah, that's some of my fun little insights into DADAROMA. Looks like some of you guys were aware, some of you weren't aware. So we got to. So I'm glad I could share that with you guys. A lot of people sharing some of their or sharing along with like which songs they like as I've been talking about them. Feel free to let me know what your favorite DADAROMA songs are, and yeah, I'll definitely, when we do ranking releases, I'll do songs, because there's enough songs. There's not a ton of songs. It won't be a huge hassle, I don't think. Maybe we can just pick, maybe I can do it in a way so where you don't have to rank their entire discography. Maybe you just pick 5 or something, like your top 5 or something. I'll have to look into it. So the survey thing that we have now it's pretty powerful. So I should be able to do that. Ikusuri was awesome if I spelt it right, if I pronounced it right. But yeah, that one was really solid. That's another example where they're very Duran Gray inspired. In the PV, for example, it looks like what's that older PV that Duran Gray has? Agitated Screams of Maggots, with like the hand drawn. I'd be curious to know if it's the same artist. It's like it's very hand drawn, but then DADAROMA went and inserted themselves in black and white into the black and white mutating, creepy hand drawings and stuff. So Romance Gray is also an amazing song, and Quiet Red too. I'm not actually entirely sure if I've heard those. I'll have to double check. I may just know them by their kanji, visually, but then I don't read kanji. So, but yeah, let's talk a little bit about some the stuff that they last put out. That I think that'll be a solid way to end the stream, and then I'll read chat, see what else you guys are saying. Let me go to our article, because I put it at I added it to the bottom, by the way, if you guys need your DADAROMA fix and you want to know where to get their latest releases. I updated the article with the release info. So Boku wa Android was the last single that they put out. I actually only recently got a chance to listen to this. I've just been flying non-stop through releases, man. But I had listened to the lead track off and on because I have the single, but not I didn't get to listen to it with any intensity until like today, literally. So like, but I did get to listen through all of it. So, but just as an FYI, so you have Type A, which has 2 tracks, like the A side and a B side. The B side is Yogoreru Mae ni Watashi o Daite. And then I guess I did okay on that. And then there's a DVD that has the Boku wa Android music video. I'm actually interested to see that. I got the Type B, which has the third B side. I may just get the Type A, just get the music video. This stuff's cheap, man. So if you want to click it, if you want to click the link in the description and check out these CDs, and if that's more your thing. By the way, that helps us out when you click on our links. It's an affiliate link, so they give us a little bit of the percentage of the purchase you make. We don't make a ton of money. We don't make you don't make a lot of money off of affiliate links. I'm just throwing it out there because I get to see like who buys what, like that follows our stuff. So I like to know that stuff more so I can know like what to tailor content towards for our audience. But that also supports us, and so we appreciate you guys doing that. Saw some of you bought some stuff through our links. So you guys are rad. You guys are awesome. In general, watching our stuff, sharing our stuff, clicking our links, supporting us through super chats, supporting us on Patreon. Like, you guys are really fantastic. We're really humbled, and it's really motivating. Just throwing it out there. In a good mood. In a good mood. I shouldn't be in a good mood. This is supposed to be a mopey stream, but yeah. I'm talking about DADAROMA, and even though I'm sad they're gone, like, I can't help but be happy talking about them. So Boku wa Android Type B has the third B side, Fake. I think that's my favorite on the single so far, just because in my current phase of DADAROMA listening, I'm kind of more into the adrenaline junkie stuff at the moment, even though I've gone through phases where it's like I like the serious stuff. I liked Boku wa Android. I thought it was a little messy the way they added the electronics in, but that kind of seemed intentional, and it kind of seemed like they were experimenting. Also, the impression I got from the PV preview is that song is really meant to be viewed more than watched, I feel like. So I really may just go get the other single, to be honest, just so I have the PV. Because like this PV was really striking, and the makeup he's using. I think if I don't even have to pull it up. If I play the test alert again from Streamlabs, let me see. Like, look at his face right here. That's like, that shit's wild, man. Like, and that's just what he's wearing. So I'll have to check that out. Maybe we can review that PV. Oh, that would be interesting, because I was trying to decide if I should want to review some of my catch-up reviews that I have. I'm still going to be reviewing This Is Live if I'm going to be reviewing it for a while, but it's partially done. It's just it's been on the back burner as we got hit by tsunami after tsunami of releases. And we'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, maybe I can just review. Let me write that down. I'm gonna write that down. That'd be cool, because I'll really feel like I'll be invested in it, because I'll have bought it myself personally. So I'll be like, was it worth buying for the PV? That'll be cool. Cool. Got a good idea. Got an idea. Lauren says, haven't seen the full PV, but the clip looks awesome. DADAROMA makes us happy. Dark Angel says, agreed. Let's see. Dark Angel also says, when do you stream? If that's directed at me, we do VKH live. We have one weekly time slot, which is every Saturday at 8 p.m., which is this time slot. Everything else is bonus streams they're just more episodes of VKH Live, but we guarantee one a week, Saturdays at 8 p.m. With very rare postponements or cancellations. But we've been really good about it so far. But we do a lot of additional streams as well. We try to keep it flexible for those because we have industry interviews. Rubab's been on. If she's still in the chat, shout out. What up, fam? Rubab's been on multiple times. She is from Fake Star Promotions, so they've worked with bands like Pentagon in the past, and they work with Acme and LMC right now, for example. So we like to get a lot of people on to talk about different things, and sometimes we do it on other days for to make it easier for scheduling, or just something comes up, or there's like a hot release. So the easiest way to keep track of it is to follow us on Facebook and Twitter. I'm going to be planning out these streams further ahead of time now that I've gotten like a lot better about kind of mastering the format a bit more. So we're going to be scheduling them out quite a bit. Probably going to be using Facebook events for starters. Maybe have our own kind of calendar or something like that. Still working out the details, but I will let you guys know more details about that. And then the other B-side for Boku wa Android was this Yogoreru Mai ni Watashi wa o Daite. If I remember correctly, it's a bit more of their serious side. First impressions was that it was more solid stuff with a solid, serious DADAROMA stuff with like a little bit of the Android side. In the background, I kind of like that they just kind of put it as a little glossy thing in the background, like these mechanical noises or like these high pitched like dubstep little screeches, I guess. But yeah, overall, I thought it was a solid single. I thought it was a good way for them to experiment a little bit. The concept just looks really cool in general. So I think I am going to get the other single, check out the PV, review the PV, because I'm really curious to see like what the PV looks like. The other thing that they put out was very recently was their very first DVD, which was it's called Live DVD 30th Anniversary One Man Tour Final. This is live. 2018 3/21 Tokyo Kinema Club. And man, this was like a hell of a set list. It's all their hits, which is like almost all their songs. And then like for their set list, and then they had some bonus tracks where they some bonus video tracks where they have multi-angle live footage where they're focusing on different members of the band, one song for each band member. So that one's $45. I'm inclined to get that too, to be completely frank, because they have a clip from it here, which is this is them performing Pornograph on This Is Live, and it's solid, man. From what I'm seeing here, I'm not gonna play too much of it, but I would check this out. It's on their official YouTube channel. The visuals are great. You can kind of tell they need a little bit of work in terms of, or Yoshiatsu kind of needs a little bit of work in terms of either needs a little bit of work in terms of his live vocals, or it was like a bigger venue or something, because he didn't do a lot of the actual screaming. And I think the clean vocals he did solid enough, although he seemed like he was struggling a little bit. So they're growing into like a larger scale indie kind of live performance style. But their presentation is phenomenal, and it could have just been the nature of that song where it's just very emotional. So he's just arms by his sides instead of singing, and letting the backing tracks like kind of fill in the gaps for you, for effect. But it was a very stunning clip to look at. Lauren Evett says about, I think this is about the Boku wa Android PV. Haven't seen the full PV, but the clip looks awesome. I'm not sure if I read that already. I'm so excited for this live. Can't wait for my copy to arrive. Yeah, definitely. Well, maybe I'll talk about that on the next stream if I've gotten it by then. But yeah. So speaking of This Is Live, maybe we can just talk a little bit about This Is Live, the album, the mini album. So I've talked about it a few times on here. I think this was a great state of the union, if you will, state of the band. Oh, that's a bit of a greenier photo than I thought it was. I'm trying to keep the visuals nice up here for you guys. All right, that's good. Yeah, so this is similar to one of the versions of the album cover for This Is Live. This Is Live, and that's the most recent thing they have up on Spotify and Apple Music, by the way. So if you wanna check that, This Is Live, the mini album or the EP, is on Apple Music at least. I'm actually not sure if they're on Spotify. Someone can confirm for me in the chat if you wouldn't mind. But I was a fan. I was a big fan. I thought it was great because the last few releases they put out were very experimental. They were reaching for like new concepts, new sounds, and they did them solidly. But I'm sure there were a few fans that were a little concerned they were like straying from their heavier side, because you had Dadaism number 3 was like almost entirely like a deviation away from metalcore into more of like it was more like alt rock and hard rock from what I was seeing. Like Masturbation, I'm not sure I would necessarily classify that as metal. It was like hard rock or maybe like industrial metal. It's a little much for metal. So it was like, oh, well, this is interesting, but we know how sometimes like some of these bands, it's like they start experimenting and then it just gets like too far, and then they just get hooked, and then they're just like, no, and now we started at metal, and now we're like a pop punk band. It's like, what happened here? Thankfully that did not happen with DADAROMA, and we kind of saw that with like their Ikusuri Watakusuri single. Sorry, totally butchered that. But where they did a light song, but then they were like back into the heaviness. But This Is Live was like a good return to form with all their new experimentation, with all the experience they had under their belt. And every song on that EP is awesome. And it's awesome for different reasons. You've got Phantom Pain, which is one of my personal favorite tracks. It kicks it off. It's so engrossing. It just makes you want to like two-step or mosh or something. It's like they have like these solid breakdowns. It's rapid. It's catchy. It's just so tightly done. Really appreciate it. The other tracks that they have. Let me pull it up in iTunes so I can read it. No, they're not on Spotify. Okay, so get Apple Music, guys. Lock it in. That's the final decision. DADAROMA is not on Spotify. So favor Apple Music over Spotify, I guess. I mean, I think that's what most people do anyway. That's what we do for sure. But let me pull up. Okay, yeah. So then the second track was White Geranium, and that was more of, almost had like a new metal vibe to it. Definitely an alt metal vibe. Kind of gets you jumping. It was really, really catchy, really fun. Not catchy. It's catchy, but it was like a. I really got like new metal vibes from it. It's like you're headbanging, but it's like your head bobbing at the same time, and it's like 10 times better than like any new metal. So I guess that makes it more alt metal. If I can be a little biased for a second, it's like, all right, well, Limp Bizkit's kind of whatever, and Linkin Park's pretty cool. But have you guys heard Slipknot? That's like new metal versus alt metal kind of thing. But I don't know, what can I say? I'm an adrenaline junkie, so very biased in this kind of music. And then the third track was the Kinky, which was their PV track, and it's not a bad track, I don't think, but I think it's very funny that their PV track in this was technically their worst song, like their least best song, just because of like the concept. It's a very pop metal kind of song. They're singing about kinky sex, and the PV is about kinky sex, and it's kind of like another take on like the Inside Beast or style of like Gazette song, maybe. Or I would if I had to equate it to something, it would be more like some of the stuff the Gazette was doing on Toxic with like Suicide Circus. But done in their own way, DADAROMA's own way. It was more unique, I would say, than any of their past dabblings in that, because they really took like elements of pop songs, like they have like this little slightly auto-tuned thing in the verse in the background where it's like a ooh ah, that was very like reminded me of like a pop, a catchy tactic that they use in pop songs, top 40 songs, to like keep you like hooked a little bit. They have like repetitive little things like that in the background. It's a very simple song, very straightforward, just kind of fun. It's a party song, in all honesty. They did some cool stuff with bringing pop influences into the metalcore side. The PV is really funny. If you watch the full PV. So they have the preview on YouTube, and it's looking like it's a hell of a visual feast in multiple ways, I guess, because you've got DADAROMA, and they're like playing, and their look is like super on point. And then Yoshiatsu throughout has got like one or two girls in like bondage gear, gimp mask, that kind of thing, like sitting on his lap. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar. I'll try not to be too graphic about this, but if you remember, the PV preview cuts out right after the chorus the first time around. So right after that in the song, it cuts into like a little pre-breakdown part where Yoshiatsu's like singing, and then you hear these girls chanting like I need you all night long, like in the background, and then they go into like this nice solid like breakdown. So that whole part, right? Let's say it's like 90 seconds or so. They go into the breakdown, and then they do like a nice little build up with more ooh lahs in the background. And then they go back into the chorus, and then they wrap it up. So let's say like up to the chorus, it's like 90 seconds, right? All right. So the reason I'm bringing this up is that in the PV, right after that song cuts out, for the next 90 seconds, it's Yoshiatsu jamming his fingers into this girl's mouth. Like this girl's mouth with like the gimp mask and everything. It's like he's I'm so sorry for any sensitive listeners. It's like he's fingering her mouth. It's the weirdest thing. You don't do this ever, especially not in like a sexual setting. And he's just like, he's jamming his fingers into her mouth, and she's drooling, and it's like, and the camera like doesn't move. It like, the camera had been cutting. If you've seen the PV preview, it's cutting all over the place. It's doing really cool editing. It really rarely moves, and he's just staring at the camera and just like jamming his fingers in her mouth, and then like it zooms out a little bit, and he just keeps going. It's the weirdest thing, man. And it's like, I'm sorry, I had to get it off my chest. It's like the weirdest shit I've ever seen from them, I think. Probably some of the weirdest. It's weird. It's really weird, but that's DADAROMA for you. It's like 90 seconds of weird. So they cut it out at a very choice time, I think. But the song itself is really solid. So Lauren Evett says alt metal greater than new metal, and I agree. So... I watched DADAROMA PVs. I'm not sensitive. Yeah, okay, good. You never know. We get really vulgar on this, but then there's like sometimes just due to the content that we're covering at the time. But then there's times where it's like I'm like, oh, I gotta really, really struggle for it, or really work for it, I guess, to go there. because my day job, I have to keep like a professional attitude and stuff. So by the time we get to the weekend, I'm able to go there. It's just like sometimes I have to work for it. Anyway, DADAROMA helps bring that out in me too. So yeah, other tracks on the song, or on the mini album, really solid. Innocent Holly comes up right after, really catchy, or really badass chorus. Aruhi Sekai Hatsu Kushito Omota. It's hard to read in Apple Music because the auto translate, I guess, on whatever they're translating from the kanji that the band uploads is like all together in one word. So my apologies. That was a very powerful song. I believe they have that song up on their YouTube channel in full. They do, DADAROMA does these videos on their YouTube channel where they'll have a full song. Like they did this for Money off of Dadaism #1. And it'll just show like in slow-mo, like the band setting up for whatever their next live is that they're promoting. I guess it's not the next live they're promoting, but the most recent live they did, and then they're promoting, I think, upcoming tour dates or upcoming DVD recordings that they usually include with singles, because they do have included past live recordings on like mini albums and singles and stuff. So, and then Kids War is very solid. Is like one of my favorite tracks on the album. First of all, it is like their Headache Man, it's their Kanto Dogeza, to draw a couple parallels to the Gazette. It is their Child Prey, if you want to draw a parallel to Durham Gray. So what I'm saying is it's like a fan favorite from what I can tell, and it's one of their live fan favorites. And the reason I know this is that this song's actually been around for a while. It's just now being released. But there are recordings out there, like live recordings that they put out, at least one that was put out that I know of, that was put out around the time Ame no Waltz was released. Those are the visuals they're sporting in it. My memory, I'm going from memory on this, but and they were playing this song back then. So this has been around for a while. I want to say this is like in part like some of the motivation for the name of the EP. This is live, like this is conveying their live attitude, and so as a result, here's a live song we've been playing that's never been released. But DADAROMA actually has played, and I know this because I've been following them a little bit as much as I can on YouTube from the beginning. They put out they play a lot of their music, a lot of their unreleased songs live a lot. It seems like, and like from like way out ahead of when they actually end up on the track on like a release. So I think as a result, like I think that really is contributing to why their music is so solid, is because they are like battle testing their music, it seems, on their live performances, and just by nature of the band, by nature of the personality, it's just a really solid solid way of like doing things for them. Let's see. Genevieve says, after watching lots of VKPVs, I am not shocked anymore. LOL. Yeah. There's been a lot of shocking stuff. Yeah, it's interesting. It will be really interesting explaining this to everyone if Visual K ever like really like turns into a huge trend in the States. We already saw how those softies on YouTubers reacted to the darker side of Visual K, including DADAROMA, which was like a combination. It was like a love-hate reaction they had. It was like, I love this concept and style, but like they scare me at the same time. So they see some of the crazier shit that's coming out of here. We're going to have... I talked about this in an episode of After Hours, where it's going to be like, where they're going to be offending people left and right on every single like side of every like political aisle or cultural perspective. Like if this movement ever goes popular, this scene ever goes popular, and we're going to have to be so careful about how we frame it. But hopefully it's not too bad by the time, this trend catches on. But I just know like stuff like Arshite's Dokumowaru, or even, the Kinky, for example, it's a lot for a lot of people. If Risley Circus was freaking people out, it's like, oh man, mainstream is not ready for this, you know. So at least not over here, not in the States at least. So it'll be interesting. Kids War is a great mosh pit song, I can imagine. Yeah, it's really great. I don't know if they have that many mosh pits since they are like a Visual K band, and there's like a lot of my impression from speaking to promoters is that even like the heavier bands don't do a ton of mosh pits because that's more of a non-Visual K thing, whereas Visual K fans, when you have like just the fan culture and stuff, it's much more I mean, it's obviously much more like you know, there's I don't know how to say this, but it's like the it's much more coordinated. It's much more expressive. It's much more about Furutsuki and stuff like that. So it's a lot of jumping and a lot of like headbanging. But that being said, the live clip that I saw of them playing Kids War, it's a banger to like the nth degree. Like when they go into the breakdown, Yoshiatsu has got like, he's like a pseudo squat, both knees out like here, and then he's just like up and down, and they're all just like hardcore to like the breakdown, and it's like a really bouncy metalcore breakdown if you've ever heard the song. And it's just really it was really fun to watch because the audience, I think, is going along with it too. So yeah, it's definitely like, it's really solid. If they ever come over here, it's gonna be chaos. They are going to whip the crowd, even if they've never seen them, into a moshing frenzy. They're not going to be able to stop it. You know, it's just gonna happen, and I think they're gonna love it. Like, you know, going off of like a lot of these heavier bands' reactions to the Western metal fans when they come over here, I think they're gonna be thrilled. Yeah, so I mean, that's a good overview of like their more recent stuff. It's just been really great to be a DADAROMA fan up until right about now, but so hopefully they're gonna come back, and you know, I hope this stream was like a good like thing to tide you over a little bit. Seems like chat's had a lot of interest in having more of that in the future, so we'll definitely do ranking releases where we do the songs, and I'll get that put together. Yeah, so overall, general recap, really sucks what happened to Yusuke. Heart goes out to him from all of us at Visual K. At Visual K. From all of us at Visual K, yeah, but like from all of us at VKH, and you know, and from the fans, I'm sure. You know, best wishes to DADAROMA as they you know, find a new drummer. They're gonna come back. I'm convinced they're coming back. There's no way they would walk away from this. I think they're ramping their way up to either a major debut, honestly, as like with like a solid budget, and it's like bam, they're now in the top tier of Visual K bands. I really think they've got the potential for that. Or they just like keep doing what they're doing and they grind their way into like the indie equivalent of that, which is like Arshite, for example. Like Arshite is just grinded away and experimented and just cultivated their audience and just continued to grow and grow and grow to the point where like they almost look like a major band, even though they are an indie band still. They're on an indie label and all that. So either way, like, you know, they've proven that is an option. It appears to be a solid business model. Arshite concerts are huge. Other indie bands on other labels, like the Resistar bands, I think have proven that. Like Bug Lug, in particular. Let me think what else. Well, obviously, like the BP Records bands, although I'm not sure how exclusively indie they are anymore. I think they're still classified as that. Anyway, either way, they're working up. They were working their way up to like this great success while maintaining quality music, and I don't see that going away anytime soon. Vocal Eye Android was interesting experimentation. This Is Alive is the best thing ever. the PV for Boku Android makes me want to get the single for it, and I'll probably write a review for it. And This Is Live looks so solid. I may make that. It would be my first purchase of an indie band's live album, actually, I think, or live DVD. So that's, good on DADAROMA. So yeah, I'll read some chat, and then after that, we'll go ahead and wrap up. Let's see. I love the kinky still. Yeah. Oh, that was I already read that. Oops. If you get scared by Risley Circus, don't watch the kinky. Yeah, if you get scared by Risley Circus, like, stick to PG-13 movies. Like, honestly, like, people, I was really like appalled by that general reaction, because it's like YouTubers react to Visual K. It's like, this is like the most normie bunch of YouTubers I've ever heard, like, or I've ever seen. Like, I'm not subscribed. I'm on YouTube a lot, like, because I like to learn, for my live streams, for our live streams here, and just I like to follow stuff, and I have my own interests, and I'm just on the app all the time, listening to stuff while I work. I don't follow anybody that's like that, like weak stomached, has such a weak stomach, but I guess that makes for the best reaction. It kind of seemed like the YouTuber reaction of, like, showing Visual K to an old lady, though, to be quite frank. Let's see. True saw Datura live this year at TNT, and the mosh pit freaked some people out. Yeah. I told this, Lori told this story, and I retold it a couple times, but Lori has a great story. Lori over at V-Star Promotions. V-Star promotes a lot of smaller bands that are have, like, huge potential, and they specialize in getting them to reach out to international audiences. So doing, like, English subtitles on videos, and teaching the artists a certain amount of English so they can tweet in English, and they work with bands that are like, I want to go to a con in the U.S. I want to meet international fans and stuff like that. So they work with Rights and Rebellion, they work with Viva Rush, and they work with Deviloof. And so Lori told me a story. Deviloof is a fantastic Visual K band. They're an outright deathcore Visual K band. They're doing a really interesting job of mixing Visual K, like, song structures with deathcore music, but they were deathcore musicians before they were Visual K musicians. And so when they, like, transitioned into Visual K as Deviloof, and as they grew and stuff like that, there was some interesting crossover between fan bases, because like, at the lives, it apparently they would have, there was, like, two kinds of lives. You would get, like, you would get the deathcore fans at lives, where there's, like, a vicious mosh pit and stuff like that, and then you would get the Visual K fans, like the Bangya girls that like to, they're all on the front row at the Furutsuki at, like, another concert. And so one of her most satisfying moments, she said, as someone who's been in that scene for a while, and has her likes and dislikes of all kinds of different things, was seeing those two collide at one concert, where it was just a bunch of, like, the Bangya fans on the front row watching Deviloof perform, and then, like, behind them, just this tornado of deathcore fans, like, opens up and just, like, scares the hell out of, like, all of them. She said it was, like, her favorite live moment she's ever seen. Cracked me up. It sounds like something I would have loved to see, but it's just very funny, man. Like, because those are, like, two otherwise opposite communities, like the Furutsuki performing girls, like, in my eyes at least, versus, like, the deathcore fans, like, not just metalcore, like deathcore, the deathcore community, just on an international scale, like, worldwide, is, like, really niche and, like, really hardcore. They are unabashedly, like, if it doesn't slap exactly like this, fuck that band, like, and they have great memes as well, by the way. There's some quality memes come out of that tightly knit community, but so it's just, like, a polar opposite thing, so Yeah, love Deviloof. I'm hardcore Visual K. Nice, very, very, very nice. I'm not sure where I'm at, to be honest, because I have done mosh pits. Like my first mosh pit was at a Slipknot concert, so I got thrown right into it. But I do like to just watch and experience the band, and then Visual K's really trained me to headbang more than mosh, because it's easier to stop and take in more of what's going on. But it just depends. Honestly, I need to go to more concerts as like a fan as opposed to press, where I'm standing there and observing and taking notes. So yeah, it's a little bit of both for me. Lauren says this description is exactly what happened at TNT. Screaming girls in the front, moshing guys in the back. Yeah, it also happened at the Gazette concert in New York City eventually, over the course of the performance. At the beginning where I was at, there was a performance and not a performance. There's a opening. They opened with Dogma, and then they jumped into Rage. And there was one guy that tried to start a mosh pit, and everybody else, the fans just like held the position, and just like he bounced off a few people like back and forth, and then it ended up dying down. Like the fans were like dead set, like, no, we're here, we're doing this Visual K style, at least at the beginning. They are here. Finally, they are here. We're gonna see them. We're gonna headbang. We're gonna jump. But no mosh pits right now. Like that was like the general vibe that got put out. I was like, damn, man, these guys were ready for the Gazette, right? But then over time, it started to happen. So like by the time they got towards the end and they're like ramping up the intensity, and Ugly comes on, it's like a full blown mosh pit in the background, and people are going. And it was really good chemistry too. You could be in either one. It wasn't too intense. So there wasn't too much clashing at that one. But yeah, it's very funny. Screaming girls in the front, mushing guys in the back. Screaming in an anime outfit, jumping up and down, trying to jump on stage. Oh, God. Oh, so you were both there, I guess. That's really funny. Yeah, headbang is the best. Well, I don't know if mosh pits are the same as in Canada, though. I'm not sure. I would imagine they are. Maybe you guys are more polite when you mosh. They're definitely quite similar in Europe, as like what I've seen out of Europe is very similar to what I see in the US. So, all right, with all that out of the way, before this live stream gets too long, thank you very much, guys, for watching. Wish you best of luck in your moping about DADAROMA. Don't be sad. I'm sure they'll be back. In the meantime, keep it locked to VKH for more content covering DADAROMA. I will definitely, now that I see there's like definitely a strong interest in the chat, like for more coverage, because we're all hurting and stuff. I'll definitely try to get a review or two out. At the bare minimum, we'll definitely have that ranking releases stream out, ranking different tracks. That sounds like a solid game plan for me, or to me. So follow us at the links in the description. I guess the main link I want to highlight is we do have a Discord server. We kind of kept it on the down low for now. We're going to officially announce it at some point, along with like the Patreon and along with like other things we've teased and talked about on here. But Discord server is a bit of fun. We have channels for like every band you can think of. So if you are a fan of a band, or you have a fan page or a fan group, please join us in that Discord and go into that server and tag me. Just Jeff DeWitt, or I'm Rantmander in Chief, Jeff DeWitt in that Discord, and I will pin your group if it's a large group and it looks like it's following general best practices of fan groups, like no illegal content being shared and stuff like that. We don't take responsibility for fan groups actions and stuff like that we link to, but we try to, we are friends with a lot of promoters, so we try to respect the wishes of the artists and the promoters. We find groups that are not sharing stolen stuff and stuff, but we want to connect to like more people, to more fans with each other. We want to build like an online community of international fans, so definitely check that out. But Thank you for the stream. Needed this. I was depressed about it all. Yeah, I was too. It's been a good outlet, to be honest. Yeah, I didn't expect I had this much to say about it, but I underestimated my appreciation for DADAROMA. So, yeah, with that, I will talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching. Peace out.